I
this
see.
intricate lattice work, and then small bonfire will be baby bon, or when it's a full moon, it's a Luna bon. So anyway, we
Okay,
named it
let
Big
me
Bon.
let me bring you back because we just went live, and let me.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah, we got excited about what we were talking about, folks. So let me bring you up to date. This is Steve Green. You're at Pizza Marketing Masters, and we have a true master today, a pizza master, a marketing master, and somebody who's using some leading edge technology. And this ties in with last week's guest, Ryan Baggett of Baggett Bots. He's the gentleman who's figured out how to use Facebook to sell pizza with pretty much complete control through Facebook. And that's one of the things that Kay Heritage has done with her Big Bon Pizza in Savannah, Georgia. And I don't see Kay. I guess oh, there we go. Okay, thank you,
Hey guys,
Ingrid.
how are you?
There she is. You're looking at Kay Heritage, and she's got a great story to tell. And welcome to Pizza Marketing Masters.
Oh, thanks so much, Steve. It's an honor to be here, and thanks, Ryan, for the shout out, and glad to be here.
Yeah, very good. Kay owns Big Bun Pizza. She also owns a institution now, practically in Savannah, a bagel enterprise, and she does catering. She does a combination of different things, but she's staked her claim in Savannah is somebody who is very interestingly taking advantage of multiple day parts. Is that right? You have bagels in the morning, you have pizza at night, or whenever you need it? Yeah.
Well, we started out with as a pizza food truck or trailer about 4 years ago. And being South Korean, I always get asked, where are you from? And I always say, well, I'm from the other South. So I'm counted as a Southerner, and I tell them it's South Korea. Because when they're trying to figure out what nationality I am. I was born and raised in South Korea, but I claim myself as a Southerner because I've been in Savannah for 30 years now, and just love this community and love this town.
Well, you must have some loves that have driven you here. You've got you used to be a photographer for food magazines, for local magazines. You obviously have a love of food. Did the photography indicates that you've got some marketing skills or some sensibilities, and is that where you want to keep going, or have you finally found your calling?
I'm a jack of all trade and master of none, I would say. I just anything that intrigues me, I tend to kind of jump in and find out if I just am trying to master that skill. So actually, I was in the military. I'm a veteran in the Army, and was a surgical assistant. Served U.S. Army for 4 years and came to Savannah. This is where I landed, and just fell in love with food. And my husband says, you're going to feed the entire Chatham County of 200,000. And I think I've almost have done that with the bagels and pizza. And I've always just loved food service. It just was always intriguing. I think from my background as Korean, we have a saying in Korea, as a greeting, we would say, have you eaten? And that's just part of our greeting. And food is so communal and so important in my culture. And that just kind of carried out, starting with a wood-fired pizza food truck 4 years ago. And this, just about a year ago, we opened up a Big Bon Bodega, which is a wood-fired bagel shop. The only one in Southeast area. So we're very proud to be the first one, and very thankful for the community support.
Now I know there's a history of of a lot of South Korean pizza makers in the U.S. We had a South Korean lady on our cover about 10 years ago.
Okay.
And what I was wondering is, usually we hear stories from people how they fell in love with their first pizza. But in your case, when did you fall in love in pizza? Was it in South Korea? Because there is a big there is a pizza community in South Korea, but it was an American experience for you.
Right. I've always made pizza at home for my children. Once a week, I would make homemade pizza. But when I started back 4 years ago, Savannah did not have food truck ordinance, which meant no food trucks were allowed. And we started to talk about it within the city. And I thought, oh, it would be really fun to have a wood-fired food truck. So a wood-fired pizza food truck. And so we were shopping for an oven. And my husband, being an aerospace engineer, said, okay, Mariforni is the best one. You know, it's close enough where we can go over there and see the plant, meet the people. So we flew from Savannah to Maryland, actually DC area, and travel over there and met the people. And that was the first time I had the Neapolitan pizza. Of course, my husband's well traveled.
Wow.
Yeah, my husband's well traveled, and it's like, if you're gonna do pizza, wood-fired pizza, it's got to be Neapolitan.
Yeah.
So we went there, and the Mayer brothers are just incredible, kind people, and they made us lunch right on the spot to test out the oven, and it was the best thing I've ever tasted, and it's so different than what I was making at home in my convection oven.
Yeah.
And that just, I said, well, we've got to do this. And I have never made Neapolitan wood-fired pizza before. But just with a lot of friends that helped us, Gianni Gallucci from Chicago, that's where I learned how to make the Neapolitan style pizza. And he gave me a crash course on it, and I brought that to Savannah. And honestly, we weren't the first Neapolitan pizza maker in Savannah. However, taking that out on the street and allowing people to, typically wood-fired pizza is in this, brick and mortar, in a very nice restaurant. But we brought Neapolitan style pizza to the street. It became a street food. And that's where people just got used to, like, wow, this is really great. This is different than, typical chain, pizza. And so we were able to introduce Savannah to this amazing pizza that was friendly in a, just a very non-threatening way. Just, it was a street food. So
that's so logical, because when you trace back the origins of pizza, the Neapolitan was what started it all. And it was in Naples, sold as a street food to sailors.
Exactly.
It was a street food. So you found another application for street food hundreds of years later. And naturally, the chemistry, everything worked. So
and since I'm Korean, we try to infuse the Korean flavor. We actually have a wonderful kimchi pizza with local sausage. And
I bet that's good.
Another chicken bulgogi pizza that we make as a special once in a while. So, and same thing with the bagel shop. We have actually a kimchi cream cheese. It's actually delicious. And we put pork bulgogi in it, and so we try to I try to bring in that Korean cultural flavor into Neapolitan and Montreal style bagels.
Yeah, of course, you're creating your own food heritage.
Yeah,
right.
For sure.
You hear that all the time.
Yeah.
Wow, that's super interesting. Now, there's another fascinating layer that goes along with this, and that is the way you sell a street food is now related to digital, the way people are wired up digitally. How do you use your marketing? For example, your online ordering with your traveling schedule. Do people know ahead of time where you're going to be, or how do you work that?
Yeah, Nick, we don't do a lot of pop-ups as much,
Uh-huh.
and most majority of our private events and wedding, we probably have had about 10 cancellations on the wedding so far,
Yeah.
and that's where the better margin is as far as
Hmm.
pizza business goes. And uh, Ryan basically set us up. We're still tweaking this because since we're mobile, it's really hard to get a printer set up and
Yeah.
like what
Right.
restaurants would have, like the screen. So we're still
Hmm.
working that out.
Yeah.
But the times that people love right now, they don't want to touch anything. So
Hmm.
what Ryan has done is really valuable for us. Like I said, we're still working on the process so that we
Uh-huh.
can make it easier for the guest experience. But yeah, they can order the pizza on their phone and just by
Hmm.
clicking on the link, and we have all the. Since it's a pop up, we don't have like 10,000 different options. We usually stick with like
Hmm.
5 pizzas and
Yeah.
one special. And so it's a very easy navigation, and they order the
Hmm.
pizza, and we can execute it pretty well. So initially we had a spreadsheet, um, but Ryan is actually working with us right now to help us so that it'll go straight to the printer.
Right. Well,
So
the contactless delivery aspect of it is probably the most relevant now during COVID. Ryan's only
absolutely
had the system working, I think, since February. So
right.
really, there wasn't much time before the pandemic. But soon in the future, I know that a lot of street business uh, has used Twitter and Facebook and
Right.
the ability to order right on Facebook should be able to really have an impact on the future when we get back to normal.
That's
So
going to be a big
yeah,
game changer for sure. Yeah.
yeah. So how are you responding to COVID now? Is the bagels? Are you still? Can you still sell bagels in the
Oh
morning?
yeah,
How? Yeah, you can. You
absolutely.
can still do
We
that.
we had to reduce the days of
Uh huh.
operation and hours, trying to balance as everyone knows, the labor costs and the sales. Um, our sale is down almost 40% from last
Uh
year.
huh.
But right now, one thing pandemic has brought to Big Bond um, family is that we have amazing talent right now. And
Hmm.
it's it's really sad that a lot of these fine dining restaurants have closed, but
Hmm.
I think that gave these executive chefs and sous chefs an opportunity to do something different.
Uh huh.
So I actually have 3 amazing chefs at our bagel shop, and we are actually rolling out with a different food concept as well. And this is
Wow.
a little secret, but it does involve Korean street food.
Okay.
So
Okay.
we're working
Wow.
on that with the
Uh
chefs
huh.
because, I mean, bagel and deli sandwiches are fun, but these are
Yeah.
just incredibly gifted people. So we want to keep
Hmm.
them creative and
Yeah.
also be able to just share part of the company, shares or profit with them. So we're kind of working on that right now. It's really super
Hmm.
exciting. Yeah.
Yeah. That we had. I'd like the our audience to benefit from the short conversation we had before we got started, and you were telling me about how you feel about millennials. That we do a lot of stories about millennials, and we hear a lot of people talking about millennials. But
Yeah.
tell me what you think of millennials as a workforce.
Okay. So typically what I hear from people is millennials are lazy. They are not proactive. You name it. You've heard them all. They want to do their own thing. And what I find working with the young people, the average age, we do have one couple of them are a little bit older, but average age is 23. As we have 18, mostly part time team members. And I find that when we clarified and defined our purpose and values, so Big Bond's purpose is to coach our young team members with business and life skills, and so that they can use these skills and a lot of them are not at Big Bond because this is their job for the rest of their life. They're aspiring photographers, illustrators, future business owners of some sort. So what we try to instill is, while we're making pizzas and bagel, these are the tools that they are practicing with. But the communication skills, like how do you talk to, the guests, or how do you have a great work culture and work environment? What are the financial, what is the P&L? I didn't even know what P&L was until I had my own business. I'm like, oh my gosh, what is that? What? They take tax and labor costs, all the percentages.
Right.
How do you market your service and products? What is the best way? So what we try to do as a company is to share these information with them, with the currently 18 of them, so that when they do have their own business, they will know how to read P&L and balance sheets. They will know how to manage their cash flow. So defining the purpose and values really brought these amazing people to us. It wasn't about our pizza. It wasn't how pretty our building looked. And it wasn't the awesome, pizza trailer we had. It was really the purpose and values. When we clarified that, they said, oh, I want to be part of that. Millennials want to be part of something bigger than themselves. And if we can just share that with them, they'll come. Right now, even as I'm right before we got on the show, I had about 6 applications, and one of the questions that we always ask is, why do you want to work for Big Bond? And every one of them will say, it looks like you guys are having so much fun, and I want to be part of this working culture. You guys are very energetic. The product is great. I mean, food is wonderful. That's kind of like the baseline. But they always mention, it looks like you guys have such a wonderful working environment.
Wow.
I want to be part of that.
Yeah.
So,
wow. Yeah. The best part of that is that's free advertising. You're a three-dimensional live broadcast of now taking applications. That's really what you're saying is join the fun.
We rarely now have to advertise. People are constantly applying, and we just have to reply and say, hey, all our positions are filled at the moment, but if anything changes, we'll let you know. It's amazing. It's all about word of mouth, right?
Yeah, it
my
sure
FedEx
is.
man, my FedEx man is here.
Okay. Well, I thought it was a dog, but that's fine. The FedEx man. Well, that's great. So if it looks like fun, you're doing something right. So this is really interesting. So you have some millennials. Do you get into the P&Ls with them and say, hey, we had a good month or a bad month? Do you literally share with them your food costs, all that stuff? Do you share that with them?
Oh yeah, they know how much I draw as an owner a month. They go, wow, she makes less than I do. But we share the P&L because I teach them, I share with them, okay, we had this much for the labor cost, this much for the food cost. Here are the disposable, percentage, and here is what and we share that comparing the dates from last year to this year. And then I even break it down to the quarter. And then what do we make, last week? What was our sales? Part of that, the reason I share that is because I'm also sharing with them, okay, this is the lag measure. This is what happened. in order for us to change these numbers so that we have a larger margin is the lead measure, and this is how we do it. And I talk about, hey, you know, those gloves, that's 7 cents for one glove, because the gloves are in high demand, and it's like every time you put a pair of gloves, that's 14 cents for the company. So let's be aware, you know, so just be aware how you can every day make it so that you are not just throwing it. If you wore it once and throw it away, of course you have to, you know, but or how about that tray of bagels you burn, right? And that costs, you know, $4.50 at food cost, and it goes in a waste log. So if we can pay, you know, better attention to baking, we can reduce the cost on that. And those little lead measures ends up having us a little bit better margin at the end of the quarter or at the end of the month. So I you know, freely share these numbers, very open about these numbers, so they can see and they feel ownership after that. Go, oh, okay, my action here really makes a difference. One of the things we talked about this morning was like we were giving out a lot of reimbursement. Part of that, we added onions on the lox and schmear, and when they asked for no onions, so we had to refund them, right? Because we want to make things right. On top of that, we had to make new ones. So little things like that we share on a daily basis. They'll remember that, and I'm hoping that that'll help them, you know, when they have their own business.
So how do you meet? Do you meet with them regularly, formally, or just you bring this to their attention constantly in the day-to-day management of the company?
Yeah, on Mondays we have what we call a Big Bond Monday huddle. So we have like 6 leads in this different area: pizza, bagel, deli, and so forth, front of the house and heart of the house. And we talk about these numbers. We talk about what action steps we can do for the week. And then they will take this information and share it with their team, with their circle. So, of course, you know, we don't do things perfectly. I mean, we're constantly like, how can we improve our communication? How can we make things better? So, but Monday is our huddle day, and it's usually about 40, 45 minutes.
Okay, so you have 40 employees, or how many employees do you have altogether?
Oh, no, we only have 18.
You have 18.
It's not a large number.
Okay.
We have 18.
I was just thinking older, 6 times 6. Okay, but so you have heads of the divisions, and then they meet with their group, the people that are related to that.
Yeah.
So do the bottom level people see the P&L or your leaders?
Oh yeah, it's posted.
Everybody sees that. That would be a lot of fun. I would think that there's so much miscommunication in people's minds about you know, how much businesses make and everything. I think if people simply knew, you know, this is hard work, and you know, it really takes a lot of coordination, a lot of thinking, a lot of planning, a lot of work to make a little bit of profit. And it's not as easy as it looks.
It is not. Margin's very slim. You know, I think industry standard for pizza is like 5 to 7%. Bagels, that on the other hand, is actually 20%. So somewhere in between, we do average somewhere in between those two numbers. But when my daughter and I founded Big Bond Pizza 4 years ago, from the first day, yes, mom and pop shops are great, but we really wanted to have, we wanted to be able to expand and grow. So we had that in mind from the very beginning, that we didn't want to just have, like, my daughter Anna and I would be the only operators. We would continue to just set the system and expand and grow. And it's been 4 years, and we're still learning how to, you know, we are just in the stage of like writing systems down and then getting feedback from our team to really okay, how can we make this better? How can we do this, part better?
Yeah.
So we're still in the baby stage, just
Uh-huh.
toddling around and falling a lot and making a lot of mistakes. So, yeah.
That's so you're still the franchise manual is still under development then, and it always will be, right?
Right. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know if we're ever will
Mhm.
become a franchise, but
Mhm.
that's still the mindset for us
Right.
because
Right.
we want
Yeah.
to have our work reproducible.
Yeah.
And so anybody who can actually read the instructions can,
Right.
somewhat imitate, what our intention is. So
Yeah.
we're just still in a building stage and
Mhm.
just continually like our leads are so good about like sharing, just anything
Yeah.
they learn, they always
Mhm.
share with the new team members. So, yeah.
Yeah, that knowledge is hard earned, expensive, and needs to be documented. And
Absolutely.
there's so many examples. Michael Lamarca is captain of our U.S. pizza team, and he told me how he didn't know whether he was going to franchise or not, but he wanted to create a manual to document everything and edify it and make it so that people could learn from it and refer to it. And now he's got over 10 stores, and
Wow.
he's been able to pass along to put that knowledge in a bottle and then able to share it and pass it along. And
Absolutely. Yeah.
it happens all the time. So you're absolutely on the right track. And
We have a little
mhm.
saying, hashtag give first. We
Mhm.
just try to give first, whatever it may be, knowledge, experience, encouragement, anything. I see Brian Hernandez wrote a comment, what are your
Mhm.
thoughts on profit sharing for management and higher up? Actually, I have a profit sharing method that it applies to all our team members, not only to the leads or management. And what we have implemented, and we're getting there, like I said, is anybody who comes up with so one of our values, core values of Big Bond is we pursue, I can't think of it now, creativity and progress. Okay, so that's one of our core values. So to encourage that, I told my team, hey, anybody who comes up with a great product or service or anything that will either increase the sales or reduce the labor costs or anything, what we'll do is we'll take the percentage of that product. For example, like one product is now our great baker Alex. He's making this beautiful wood-fired sourdough breads, right? And we can put it in the POS. So end of each quarter, we can look at, because, POS can tell like how many of loaves of bread we sold. So we'll take a percentage of that sale and reward it to him. I have another young lady who loves tea, like iced tea, cold tea, cold brew, and she's developing that in her time, and she wants to sell them. I'm like, hey, if it sells, let's do it. So whatever she has developed and we were able to sell, we can say, hey, here's a P&L. This is how many drinks we sold. This is the percentage we're going to give you. So it encourages creativity and it encourages ownership. I mean, I can tell you she'll come like before her shift and she'll test out different drinks and cold brews. And my amazing baker, Alex, he will, stay late and develop different. And then he will say, okay, so for this loaf, my friend Gabby made this, you talked about the crown, right? So they made the crown on their own and he would dust that on top of the sourdough bread. It's beautiful wood-fired loaf with the crown on it, our logo on it. I didn't tell them to do that. They came out, with on their own. So that's the dynamics. That's the culture that we are trying to instill. So it's really fun.
Wow. That's really great. I've got to end the show here very soon.
Oh,
I always try to keep it at 30 minutes, but I'm sure we could go a lot longer. But I did want to let you know that Ryan Baggett said you were like so great, and he's so right. I see why he recommended you as a guest, and I really appreciate you coming on, spending time and sharing some of your wisdom. And I'll make sure you get our magazine.
Oh, thank you. It's a great honor,
yeah.
Steve. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much for coming. And if there's any questions that anybody has, if you want to send them on, we'll write them. We'll write them down and ask you some questions that come in after the show.
Anyone, if you guys want to ask us any questions, just DM us at Big Bomb Pizza and Big Bomb Bodega. We're in Savannah, Georgia.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Bye, everyone.